You've been at this building project for hours now. What are you even using it for?
Oh, this? This is a temple diorama for our lesson today. When we're done with it, I'm just going to tear it down.
What?
So our last lesson left off with us learning that Jesus and his followers were coming into Jerusalem, but the Pharisees were not at all happy that they were there. And they were trying to trick Jesus into answering the question and getting it wrong and embarrassing himself in front of the crowd. So right after they ask him this question, what's the most important commandment, and Jesus doesn't get tricked, they leave in a huff to try and come up with some sort of plan B.
Uh-oh. I think I know what they came up with. Go.
So now that the Pharisees and the religious leaders have left the temple, Jesus and his followers are left standing around. And one of his followers says to Jesus, "Hey, Jesus, check out this awesome temple." But Jesus responds with something strange, and he says, "You see all of this awesomeness? It's all going to be destroyed. Not one stone here is going to be left on top of another."
Buzzkill. I guess those Pharisees really put Jesus in a bad mood.
Jesus probably had a lot going through his mind. Remember, this is his last week on earth. It's the last week right before his crucifixion on the cross. So as they start to leave the temple and they walk away from the crowd, some of his disciples ask Jesus what he means when he says that the temple is going to be destroyed. Let's see what it has to say in the text. Mark 13:5 says, Jesus said, "Watch out that no one deceives you. Many people will come in my name saying, 'I'm the one.' They will deceive many people. When you hear of wars and reports of wars, don't be alarmed. These things must happen, but this isn't the end yet. Nations and kingdoms will fight against each other, and there will be earthquakes and famines in all sorts of places. These things are just the beginning of the sufferings associated with the end."
And it just keeps getting worse. Shouldn't we be focusing on the fun, happy stories in the Bible? It's almost Christmas.
These stories are important for us to learn, Ziggy. This story in particular, though, might just have something a little bit different to teach us. This is a pivotal point in Jesus' ministry. He speaks for a long time about the destruction of the temple, and it's important to understand why. The temple was an important symbol for the religious leaders and for the other Jewish people at the time. So when Jesus talks about it being destroyed, they're all pretty shook up.
So, like, if someone came in and said that our church building wouldn't be standing for very much longer?
That's exactly it.
Well, I'd be pretty upset. I mean, I love my Sunday school room, and the gym, and the big organ pipes.
That's exactly how the disciples and the rest of the Jewish leaders probably would have felt when Jesus said the temple was going to be destroyed.
But why?
Well, that's what's important to understand. This story isn't really about the temple at all. Not the building, at least. See, the building at that time was so important to people, and they put a lot of emphasis on its power and its beauty and how big it was. But that attention took away from where their real focus should be, our love and attention towards God.
Okay, I think I'm getting it now.
Yeah, so what Jesus is saying is that the temple and the religious rules that everyone is so focused on are soon going to lose all of their power. He's saying that we shouldn't worship such shallow things, that instead we should focus our worship and attention on things that are dependable like God and not undependable like a great big temple.
But I would still be sad to lose the temple.
Absolutely, and so would the disciples. But they understood that Jesus had something big in the works, something so much better than the temple. See, sometimes things have to end for us to be able to start something fresh or build something new. The temple had to be destroyed because this was the end of a religion where we were separated from God. Remember, the temple was built so that there were certain areas that only certain people could go into. And this place, the most holy of holies, was where the chief priests alone could go to talk to God. Nobody else could. So when the temple was destroyed, when Jesus died on the cross, it changed how we were able to connect with God. Now all of us were invited to be in close relationship with God. No more walls.
So what you're telling me is that this destruction of the temple was really the beginning of Christianity?
That's exactly it. You got it. So what do you say? You want to help me tear down this brick temple?
Only if we can build a really sweet spaceship next.
Deal. Our Bible memory verse for this week is, Jesus responded, "Do you see these enormous buildings? Not even one stone will be left upon another. All will be demolished." Mark 13:2. Now we'll take some words away. Keep following along and we'll memorize this verse together. Jesus responded, "Do you see these enormous buildings? Not even one stone will be left upon another. All will be demolished." Mark 13:2. Jesus responded, "Do you see these enormous buildings? Not even one stone will be left upon another. All will be demolished." Mark 13:2. Jesus responded, "Do you see these enormous buildings? Not even one stone will be left upon another. All will be demolished." Mark 13:2. Jesus responded, "Do you see these enormous buildings? Not even one stone will be left upon another. All will be demolished." Mark 13:2. Here comes your challenge for this week. Challenge number 1. Our story this week talked about things that are sometimes a little bit scary, like war and famine. So this week, I want you to find Psalm 16. Psalm 16 is full of comforting words that remind us that even when things are scary, we can remember that God protects us. Then I want you to think about people in your life that help and protect you. Challenge number 2. With your parents' help, I want you to search online for a Jesus Temple 3D tour. Then take a virtual tour through this worship space that Jesus talks about in Mark 13:1-8. Compare it to our church building here. What are some similarities? What are some differences? Tell me about it on Sunday. Thanks for joining me this week. Stay tuned for the announcements at the end of the video, and I'll see you on Sunday.